All right, guys, we are at that point in the year where I feel pretty confident that there's not going to be any more EPs that are going to be released within the last coming days that I'm going to get, or any back catalogs within 2025 that I'm going to pick up. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 3 R's recap, ranking, and review of all of the EPs that were released this year. I got 8 things total. I'm probably going to be losing my breath. I'm probably going to forget to mention a lot of really important elements of this. I'm probably going to feel kind of shitty by the end of this. But we're going to dive on into it. I want to preface this by saying that, I don't have a lot of money. Frankly, I don't have a lot of time. I like to listen to music to have fun, to enjoy it. I personally invested all of my money into these. I didn't get anything for free. I don't listen to digital downloads or streaming or anything like that. So, all that to say that, I don't listen or buy music specifically to take a shit on it. I know a lot of more big name reviews, even those that actually put their own money into purchasing the music that they review. I know that a lot of them will get stuff that they know they're not going to enjoy. They don't anticipate they're going to enjoy. It's all for the sake of putting a review out. And I'm not knocking them for doing that, but that's not who I am. That's not a position that I'm in, and frankly, not one that I want to be in. Like I said, I want to be able to enjoy music. So even the ones that are lower ranked, don't take it too seriously. And a lot of times, an artist that I enjoy might put out something that's not that great. I'll buy it anyway to kind of show my support for them. I want to see them continue to do well, even if it does mean occasionally putting out something that's on the weaker end of things. All these are artists that I believe in, I enjoy. These are all pretty obscure artists. A lot of them are local. There's actually most of them are from out of town, you could say, touring. And then sometimes some bands don't necessarily tour, they just occasionally play shows out of town. But yeah, all these, with the exception of one, are artists that I discovered at live shows, at really small venues. And then one of them's definitely not from around here. I don't think he's ever done anything in my area. He doesn't really do much shows in general. But if you know about this artist, you probably know about them through me, if you keep up with my shit. Bottom ranked EP for me this year was Vosh Vault 1. I'm gonna try to show off the packaging of these as well as I can, but I'm not gonna try to go too much into detail of them verbally. I'm just gonna try to focus mostly on my actual thoughts on these. But yeah, out of all the releases this year, to me, this one kind of felt the most unnecessary. In marketing, Bush is a pretty new band. They only have one album out. They're pretty popular for how fresh they are. Like, I don't know their full history. I don't know if they've been in other projects that kind of got them to this point. They tour a lot. They've opened for some pretty big bands. I think I saw something about them opening for Peter Murphy at one point. But yeah, they're kind of a goth, industrial, synth pop type band. But to me, this release felt pretty unnecessary. It was marketed as alternate versions of songs from their album Vessel. And that kind of was pretty vaguely worded. What I was hoping for was sort of, something along the lines of demos, remixes. I can't really see their music going well acoustically, but maybe it would. I was just thinking, something that I think would be really sick. I don't know how skilled any of their members are at piano, or if they know any, really kick-ass pianists, but I think, piano versions of songs would kind of fit their goth vibe really well. But what this actually is I call it studio live. I don't know if there's an official term for it, but you know, when they're playing live, but they're in a studio, they're not in front of a live audience versions of their songs. I've never been a fan of that. To me, it's just kind of shittier versions of the songs that they already recorded. Now, the good part of this is has their live intro. If you've seen them live, they have kind of a semi-instrumental intro that they do. I say that because their vocalist is just kind of wailing over it, no actual lyrics. It's pretty cool. It's definitely the type of thing that, you know, needs to be live, and it definitely needs to be an intro to something else that wouldn't really work that well on its own. And it closes out with a cover of Shot in the Dark by Ozzy Osbourne. If you ask me, I would have liked it better if they did like maybe a single-sided 10-inch with those two songs, maybe like, you know, some cool gothic etching on the B side. But yeah. So, this is where things get kind of awkward because this next artist, last few years, has been really pumping out a lot of music. So he has 3 EPs total, and one of them is actually a 2-for-1 package. And I rank them in... they were initially going to be all kind of back-to-back, but one late arrival kind of, I feel like, is a necessary combo breaker. But from The Problem Child, we have Dreamwalker OG. I love the way he did the packaging on this kind of weird jar with, you know, a lot of stickers. This is the 2-for-1 deal, so it's going to be kind of awkward showing everything off at once. But the specific EP for this that I'm reviewing right now, and I kind of lost my track of mind, but either way, this is Dreamwalker OG, the main one that was advertised. That's kind of what I was trying to get at there. But in my opinion, this is fairly weak by his standards. But, you know, like everything, it does have its strengths, particularly like how it was very production-forward. I'm trying to remember, like, all the producers that he worked this year. I believe this one was self-produced. He's done a few self-produced things. They tend to be kind of on the more wacky, kind of psychedelic vibes to it, really, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know if he's done anything with any other artists as far as production goes, but I think that's something that needs to happen. But yeah, something else that I think is pretty cool, a lot of his releases have some sort of unifying theme throughout it, but this is probably the closest that I've got a sense of like actual song-to-song continuity. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but that's definitely the vibes that I get. It kind of feels like it's a bit of a concept album or concept EP, if you will. But with all that said, probably like the main thing that frustrates me a lot about this is kind of the repetitive nature of a lot of the lyrics on these songs. I remember the first time I heard it, you know, he was repeating some lines, which, you know, it's fine, it's cool. I thought they were really strong hooks. Then he just kind of kept on repeating them ad nauseum, and I realized that's actually the entire song. I wasn't really a big fan of that. It's not like that all the way through on here, but there's a few songs like that that kind of drags it down. So it's kind of funny because, you know, even though it feels like it's a bit of a concept, I also feel like, you know, a lot of these songs are doing a lot to present very little, if that makes sense. But yeah, I will have to remember to come back to that. I'm already at the point where I'm having to edit this video to make it make sense, so if I mess up, I'll just edit it anyway. I hate editing, though. Next up, my combo breaker for The Problem Child is Commoner's Change of Heart. I saw these guys just a few weeks ago at the skate park at a free show. They're a fairly straightforward band, really. They're kind of heavy, alternative, touches of post-hardcore to their sound. I mean, that's kind of what I'm getting at. There's nothing particularly unique about them, but I definitely enjoy it. You know, it's straightforward. I don't have much strong opinions on it. I mean, to me, this is kind of the definition of like a middle of the pack release. You know, I enjoy it. I just can't really explain why I enjoy it so much. Alright, so back to the Problem Child. These next two releases, I've kind of gone back and forth on how I feel about them, which one I think is better than the other. But yeah, I'm just going with my feelings for the moment. I could very easily switch these at a moment's notice. But next release I'm going to review for him is If You Never Hear From Me Again. This I kind of feel like, I think he said was something meant to be like his, you know, as the title implies, if you never heard from him again. These are kind of the last things that he'd want you to know. He kind of raps about all the things that he's most passionate about for production. He worked with Notice Young, which is who he works with most of the time with his production. And I kind of feel like it's kind of a match made in heaven, but at the same time, I kind of feel like particularly shows on this one more than his other releases that maybe it's a little bit too safe, if you will. With that said, I mean, this isn't completely straightforward and boring. There's definitely a few bangers on here. One of my new favorites of his is actually on here, which is the opening track, Baby Girl, which is written about and features his daughter on it. Her voice is absolutely adorable. It's also one of his more pop-oriented songs, and I think he actually does like more pop-oriented rap surprisingly well. Another favorite, was for a while my all-time favorite, but it's, you know, I can't really call it an older release because he just put out a lot of music since then, but, you know, it's kind of, but whatever. One of my one-time favorites of his was Let's Smoke, which is another kind of more pop-oriented stoner party anthem. You know, not too hip-hop focused as all his other songs, but he does that sort of style of music surprisingly well, I think. The other main standout on here, I'd say, is Stay Solid. But yeah, you know, I don't have any negatives to say about this, but, you know, still I feel like a little bit light on what I have to say that's positive about it, but still, I mean, it's got some bangers on it, so it's a good EP nonetheless, just, you know, not his strongest EP. So now we're going back to Dreamwalker OG Jar to show off a surprise release on this, and I think even Jordan, the Problem Child himself, may have kind of underplayed this a bit. Like I said, this is a surprise. He didn't advertise that this is a part of the packaging. We got Flame Cranium, so not much to show for the art other than these stickers, because, you know, it's still on the Dreamwalker OG stick. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the most unique things that he's released. I think it's honestly pretty fucking strong. The producer that he worked with this goes by Star Crazy, I think it was. I should have remembered it better, but I got a lot of shit to go through, so bear with me. Yeah, I kind of feel like that owes a lot to just the unique, fresh vibes of this EP. With that said, it has a pretty major flaw to it. That is that 3 of the 4 songs that are on here feature this kind of psychedelic producer tag at the start of it, which was probably done as some sort of a deal between them. And it's fine. I'd say it's fine even as the way it's presented, if it was just on one song, because I mean, it does sound pretty cool, if I can be honest. It's just not something that I need to hear 3 times in a row, you know, so I kind of get the vibes that this is something that's not meant to be listened to back to back, and that's mainly how I listen to my music. You know, I go to a release that they put out, I listen to it from start to finish. So when I listen to this, I do have to listen to that back to back. So this is one of the few releases that I feel like is actually stronger if you listen to just each song on its own than the release as a whole. So it's kind of a frustrating knock to it, but you know, honestly, if you take just the songs on its own, it's a pretty strong release. And yeah, I love it. Alright, so got 3 more things to talk about here. Next up from Lucid, we have Meadow Lake. This is also that skate park show that Commoner was at. Something that I love just in general about a lot of these, you know, kind of more local and obscure acts is you just get some fucking weird genre combinations between them. But yeah, they're a shoegaze band. If you're from my area, there's a surprisingly strong shoegaze scene, like particularly in my area. I'd say in Pensacola more than Mobile. But it's a lot of the more like alternative kind of 90s shoegaze sound that I associate with like Smashing Pumpkins and Hum. This is a lot more of like the classic My Bloody Valentine type shoegaze. You know, it's more dreamy and floaty. So they're from Dothan, Alabama. I can't remember how far away that is from me, but, you know, it's far away enough that I can't really just make a casual trip to there, but, you know, it's close enough that, you know, bands from that area can come down fairly regularly, so that's cool. The unique thing about them is they actually have a dedicated full-time lead vocalist as opposed to a lot of shoegaze bands where, like, you know, the guitarist is singing. But for this show, that vocalist wasn't even there. I think they said that she was in a car crash, but she was doing fine. She just couldn't make it to the show. So their guitarist, who normally does co-lead vocals, sang that show in its entirety. But one of the things that I kind of feel like is really defines their sounds is their uses of cadences, which is like, you know, when a chord kind of just rings out, you know, maybe almost implies the end of the song, then it just picks right back up. And I think it's a pretty cool sound that they got. Alright, going back to some more specifically local stuff. Speaking of 90s alt-rock shoegaze, we have a split EP from Cairo and Snow Halo. Now, these two bands are practically the same band at this point. I don't know if they were at the time of this recording. I've seen both of them a decent number of times over the last couple years or so, so they've had some lineup changes. They weren't always practically the same band, but now they are, with just some instrument rearrangements, like, you know, one of them, the drummer takes over on guitars and lead vocals, and, you know, the guitarist and lead vocals switches to bass, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, I gotta say, for a split EP with 4 songs and 2 of those songs being covers, it's got some surprisingly good consistency to it. You know, even if you're the type that just wants to take the songs on their own, they're pretty fucking strong. I've kept up with Cairo a little bit more than Snow Halo, but if I can be honest, I think the Snow Halo songs are actually the ones that stand out to be more on this. But yeah, they're pretty cool. And my number 1 EP of the year is a band that I've only seen once. That was over a year ago. They're from Georgia, but that is Smoochy Faces, Maximum Possum. They're kind of dancey indie rock. So I absolutely love this packaging on it. But yeah, I got a theme. They weren't always like this. I know at one point there was, I think it was actually a solo project of their guitarist, and he was doing all the instruments at that point, but now they're a more full-fledged band, and they have a female vocalist whose voice I just find really fun for their style of music. Something that really stands out to me on this is actually the vocal harmonies. They kind of give me Boy George vibes out of all things. I don't know if that's kind of funny, but that's kind of what it makes me think of. A lot of like feminist and nostalgia themed lyrics. Yeah, I kind of a funny thing when I do this. I find like a lot of the releases that I have the least to say about it is actually my favorite. I don't have much to say about this other than I really fucking love it. But yeah. So yeah, check out all those bands. Like I said, there are a lot of more obscure acts, things that I definitely think need more attention. So yeah, I definitely have one more album coming before I can do my album review ranking. And if you thought this video was long, oh boy, I'm probably gonna have to end up splitting that one into two. My live albums, I got one that's been released digitally, but physically it's been pushed back till sometime early next year, so my 2025 live album review won't happen until 2026, which is a fairly common thing, actually, when I do these. But yeah, I'll see y'all the next time I do that shit.